With us now is Ruth Caleb, who's Head of Counselling at Brunel University and Chair of the Mental Wellbeing Working Group for Universities UK. Also with us is Chloe Evans, who graduated from university last year. Good morning to you both. Ruth, first of all, why so many more young people at university and further education colleges? Why are they having problems, do you think?
I think that it's become a much more anxiety-provoking situation going to university and going to FE colleges, and I'm glad you mentioned that because they are very much the poor sister, I think, in terms of resourcing for mental well-being. I think that also perhaps there's a positive that the taboo is beginning to go about people having mental health difficulties. It's not uncommon for schools to have counselling, and it's becoming a more normal behaviour to talk to somebody if you're having difficulties rather than tolerating it.
Chloe, and we'll pick up with the help you tried to get in a moment, yes, but when you went to university, you're bipolar, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
How is it affecting your time at university?
Everything was new. It was a new support network entirely. I was living with people that I've never met before. I had to register with a new GP. It was a new city even. So yeah, it was very scary.
It is a huge challenge. It's one that takes a lot of people by surprise. When you found that you had difficulty, what sort of help did you get from the university, and was it enough?
Well, when I got there and I sort of was having a look around, there were all these posters and leaflets saying, you know, if you suffer from a mental illness or you're stressed during your time at university, come and approach student support services. We can offer you counselling and support and all these things. So I did just that. I went to student support to see what they could offer me. And after 8 weeks, an 8-week wait, I was given an appointment to see a gentleman who I think, and I believe now, I don't think he really knew what he was offering me.
But if you're in a crisis, or if you really... 8 weeks is a ridiculous length of time to wait.
Yes, well, I think anybody who suffers from a mental illness is used to waiting across the board anyway, so it wasn't anything new for me. But yeah, it is a long wait, and you know, by the time it got to November when I had my appointment, you know, I was sort of a bit more settled. It was a bit less scary, I guess.
Ruth, let's just talk about that wait, because you know that's almost a term, isn't it, that people are having to wait?
Yes,
and that
it's completely untenable
on their academic studies as well.
Of course it does. It's completely untenable to think that people can wait that long, and I think most universities, and certainly at Brunel University London, we have in place ways of people coming to us within 24 hours of a working day, so that there are drop-ins that people can just turn up at, and I think that's enormously helpful.
Do you think every university and further education college should have that?
I truly believe they should. I think that it's very important to be accessible, at least in the first instance, so that we can signpost correctly. There may be a bit of a longer wait for ongoing counselling or for other work, but certainly in the first instance, it should be as instantaneous as we can possibly make it.
And Chloe, I understand that you sort of did get help that started to make a difference to you. So what was it that was most helpful?
Well, in my final year, in the first term, I became very unwell. I had a relapse in my illness, and the university were great. They offered support. They acted as the bridge between myself and the university. They helped me fill out the paperwork. They basically just guided me through the process that I needed in order to stay at university, to make the adjustments that I needed to return.
In the past, students might have issues with being homesick, transition difficulties, breakup of relationships. Now they're coming along with anxiety, depression, low mood, self-harming, all sorts.
They're coming in already very anxious and already worried about the degree that they will finally get, and even in their first year.
Now, why is that? Why is it so much more stressful now than it used to be?
I think there's a huge pressure on students. If I dare say it, there's a little bit of pressure from the media, having called them the lost generation, that there is less employment, that there are less graduate opportunities. It's not strictly true. There are jobs out there, so for all you who graduated last year, keep persevering. You will find the job. You may need to apply for a few more than previously, but it will happen.
Chloe, and for other people who might be, suffering at the moment, finding they're going through a difficult time, what would your main advice to them be?
I think, firstly, it's nothing to be ashamed of. If you're suffering from a mental illness, it's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. You know, go and seek help, talk about it. I mean, keeping it inside is just the worst thing that you can do because it's only going to get worse. So go and see your local GP, or if you are at university, take advantage of the services they have to offer.
Is there still that stigma in universities, which should be centres of progressive thinking? Is there still a stigma about mental illness?
I think there is, and I think it's beginning to reduce, especially in universities. Many universities have signed the Time to Change pledge, committing themselves to supporting students for positive mental well-being, and it's not just choosing people who have mental health difficulties, it's looking at the mental well-being of all students and offering best practice as far as we're able to all students for those anxieties and stresses that come. And may I just say, Chloe, I think you did great in disclosing when you went, and I would encourage any student, potential student who's had problems in the past, to disclose. Then we can put in place the support that you need, that you eventually, I'm pleased to say, got.
Well, Ruth and Chloe, thank you very much. How are you doing? What are you doing these days, Chloe, since you graduated?
I work as an independent mental health advocate, so I support people in hospital or in prison to make sure they have a voice in their care and treatment.
Good for you. Thank you both very much.
Thanks both.